Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to a program on target. As usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up a telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socioeconomic issues trending. Whether it is the war going on presently now in Israel, Palestine has penetrated Israel borders, maybe in 29, 30 places, and killed more than 700 civilians and soldiers and fired thousands of rockets inside Israel. And Israel now is bombing places in Gaza. In fact, the Minister of Defense has ordered that Gaza be occupied or sieged. So here we have another front opening in disturbances. Israel is claiming that this is the worst since Yom Kippur in 1973, I believe, when over 2,600 Israelis were murdered. You have war going on in Ukraine and Russia. And this war doesn't seem to be coming into an end. Ukraine has been bombarded. Obviously, the war is over 500 and something days now, and Russia is unable to occupy Ukraine. As a result of the war, Finland and Switzerland join Europe. That is not in the Russian interest. So in Africa, we have a number of countries there that had coup d'etat in recent times. Niger, they want the French out. So you have some areas of violence and restlessness and war going on in parts of the country. We are on RealFM 91.9. We are on YouTube and Facebook. And you have the power to pick up the telephone and give us a call and determine what subject matter we speak on. The number to call is 442-0175. You don't necessarily have to react to what people say, but you can introduce subject matter, you can correct facts, and you can ask questions. You ever call on the line? So this is one of the privileges you have on our program. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre. Mr. Pierre, I remember the election campaign, right? The Prime Minister was saying, hello? Yeah, you hear me? Hello?
Yes, caller, go ahead.
Yeah, I remember the election campaign. The Prime Minister was saying that the government at the time keep people on contract, right? They keep people on contract. They want to send them home at will. But Mr. Pierre, when you look at during the COVID period from 2019 to 2022, what you find happening? The government did not send home anyone. No one was retrenched. Everyone that was working, even those that was in the tourism belt. And because of this problem with tourism, the government still find work for them, workers who are working in the tourism belt, right? And the people working to get a salary. But when you listen what the Prime Minister was saying at the time, and to know what is happening while in government, you see who find people at will is this government. They find the people on contract, right? At will. Why? Not to say they commit any crime, not to say they did anything wrong, but because you want to get rid of people that tell us about support the government and they're on contract. Even people who support them, they're getting rid of them. So sometimes when you look at the policies of this government, you have a policy of the previous government that they find jobs for people. And this government right now, what they are doing, taking away jobs. They're taking away things, money from the poor because of people's hand. right? Which are going to be affecting the children to get a proper, to give a proper meal, to get money to pay the boss to buy the school uniform. So you're making life much more difficult for the poor class of people in the country, right? You're making life more difficult for them. You said that you care about people and love people. If you really care and love people, you will try to find a job for the poor class of people, those who need jobs. You will find job for them. But instead of find job for them, you're taking away the little job that they have, the little caca they used to get to maintain the family. You're taking away job from them people to give who? Give who to those who have. When some people always say, people who talk about what they are called to serve. And if you say you're called to serve, you have to serve people. You can't be one to serve some, and then the people that you really need to reach out and help, you don't helping them. You don't helping them, but you're helping those who have already, making it much more difficult to those who the little thing that the little bit that the people had, you're taking away from them and put them more on the breadline. So you see who really keeping people in poverty is this government. It is government. You don't find it. And the little that they have, you taking from them to make life much more difficult. Right? The government give them a housing where someone that was working at their own contract, they pay a portion of what they get from the salary. We they feel comfortable, happy about that. What you do now, you tell them that they go in the bank to get a loan, to pay for the houses that they live in. How will they get it? So how could you make life better for the people that live in housing? How could you make life better when costs are living going up every day and you don't even try to cushion the cost of living? How could the people that could better know when you remove the 25% on the non-free charge? How could life be better when every day things get harder and harder, right? You don't care what you're looking for the people. Water bill going up, electricity bill going up, everything going up. And you would think about yourself, how people are getting better under that situation. When the people was there under the federal government, the people was left was much better and they comfortable. But Mr. Pierre always say to Grenadian people, you have to know what you have. Right? You know what you have. And when people come and talk and try to malign and say things about what you have and what them who helping you and making life better for you, you have to condemn them and don't believe what he's saying. And this government had a track record from the old grandparents, children, grandchildren, all of them the same thing. Is to deprive the poor class of people from enjoying a better life. So, Mr. Pierre, that's my.
Yes, scholar, I think sometimes when politicians see the call to serve, we forget to ask who. I have asked from day one who sent Dick Mitchell. From day one, I was worried that he is not going to seek the interests of the people in the lower income group. And I asked the question, who sent him? When a politician say you call to serve, who they intend to serve? Some government, some political parties' policy is to develop the country and they try to take in everybody in the development. The NDC have a track record of being hostile to people in the lower income group. They're not very sensitive to them, but they're hostile to them. And this would, the members of the National Democratic Congress does not see anything wrong with that, because that is a policy. My issue with the NDC is because they sit down and plan lies. They plan to deceive the marginalized people in our country. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
And how are you, friend?
Great, man.
Great. Mr. Pierre, I do not have to really identify myself to the Grenadian population. My voice is very much distinct, so everybody know who is speaking. I have an advice to the Prime Minister of Grenada, Carriacou and Petimat, because it's Mr. Deacon Mitchell. I have some advice here for you. I think that you're out of state, but I believe that there are people on the NDC side who listen to Mr. Pierre program. The advice I have for you, Mr. Prime Minister, I need those that are listening to document the advice. Advice number one, Mr. Deacon Mitchell. I need you to do an assessment of your advisor and get rid of some of them. They're going to cause you to mash up Grenada, and Grenadian is going to hold you accountable. I repeat, do an assessment of the advisors and get rid of some of them. The advice that they are giving you, you will be responsible for mashing up Grenada. Advice number two, Mr. Prime Minister, your ministers are too comfortable in the comfort zone based on the portfolio that they have. Mr. Prime Minister, to save Grenada, I'm asking you, please, sir, to shuffle your cabinet. Your ministers are too joyful and too happy in the ministry which they control. Please, sir, they will get mad with you, but I will advise you to shuffle your cabinet. Advice number three, Mr. Prime Minister, you're traveling a little bit too much. Cut back and stay in base, stay in Grenada for some time. I'm not saying you do not have to travel, Mr. Prime Minister, but I think that you're out of the country too often. You are young Prime Minister, sir. You need to cut back on some of your traveling. Indeed, and in fact, you will have to travel when you have to. But I think that you're out of state too often, and that could cause a problem for your ministry. Advice number four, have a heart, Mr. Prime Minister, for our poor people. I discovered that you do not have a heart for the poor, sir. You are the only Prime Minister in the whole of Grenada, Carriacou, pretty much that make history, that do not take in the poor under your wings, sir. From the time Gary to Kit Mitchell is happening. I'm asking you, please, sir, to have a heart for the poor people in our nation, sir, that is real struggling. Advice number five, Mr. Prime Minister, the idea to sell the low-income houses to our poor people, please, sir, withdraw that. Withdraw it, sir. Remember that the housing, Mr. Prime Minister, was a gift from the Republic of China to our low-income people. Mr. Prime Minister, there is no way any banks in Grenada will ever agree to give a loan to anybody that are poor to get his house. It is a gift from the people, Republic of China. Mr. Prime Minister, I'm asking you, please, do not sell the gift to our poor people. Our poor people need the houses. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, I beg you, Mr. Deacon Mitchell, do not go down that trajectory. Give the house to the people at a very low cost. I thank you very much, and I hope that you do heed my advice. I rest my case. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, scholar, it's good, pertinent advice. I don't have any confidence that the government would bother with it. If you follow some of the government supporters, they're glad the manner in which the government goes. They're glad the government decide not to give the poor people these houses. And that's what the government doing. You know. The government has shift the line of demarcation. They shift the boundary. They put the bar higher. So these people would not be qualified. The government has no intention for them to get the houses. They're going to give some of the NDC friends, and those in the diaspora mouth must start to water because they have a chance to get to these houses. And some of them living in cubicle in foreign land. So they're going to get a chance to own a piece of property in Grenada. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Great, man.
I'm still waiting on what you have for me. Did you happen by chance to listen to the chairman of the Housing Authority this morning?
No.
Oh, because, I mean, he was on another radio station, and he sort of, well, what I got from him is that there is the houses, the new program that they are doing, where where facilities are made in the financial institutions are for low-income earners. Now, to me, there is a difference between a low-income earner and a poor person. There must be a threshold. He also claimed that at least two financial institutions has already agreed to facilitate the loans for the low-income earners. He claimed in the Housing Authority there are facilities for poor people, and he claimed definitely he doesn't like the term poor and vulnerable. He said there are facilities for poor people, and that over the years, the previous administration have been putting in $4 million every year for that, which should be a revolving fund. But unfortunately, with the first program of the houses, the people are not paying and they are not meeting the commitment. Now, Mr. Pierre asked myself the question this morning when I was listening to the program. If about, I think, 7 years ago, the first Chinese houses were given to the people, I think it's about 7 years ago. And if 7 years ago, payments were made for some people say only the first couple months, and if the people refuse to pay, I'm asking myself, is that a question of the economic situation got deplorable from that time up till now? So they couldn't meet it. The people was paying the $200 and some was $150. If they couldn't make that payment, that means the economic condition worsened over the last 5 or 7 years. That's what I'm asking myself. Then also, Mr. Pierre, the repayment on the houses where the people have to seek a loan for, it's just about the same as the previous program, according to the chairman of the Housing Authority, right? And if it ranges anywhere between $230 now to about $500, and you have a mortgage for 20 years or 30 years, depends on where you fit in, right? He claimed that the houses are 55,000 and 73,000, 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom. Well, no house, units. Let me correct myself here. Units, right? And the cost of the house of the unit, is 55%. They are being sold at a 55% discount, and that the market value of the houses, the one you pay $55,000 for, is about $140, a market value. So hence the reason you have about equity of about $90-something thousand, because that's the value of the house. I tried to ask a question if the people have to pay, but I couldn't get you on the line. If the people have to pay any deposit to get a loan. But then again, the country is so liquid, so much money in the banks, and you have a possibility of 600 new customers around the banks and the credit union that coming to get a loan for a property that's valued at $140. I think they may get, that is just my opinion, or they should get 100%, because we're giving 100% to buy motor cars, 100% financing. So in my humble opinion, I think that's a very good deal. But I think that people out there who have not really listened to what the program is all about. I think they're talking about houses for poor people, but in my humble estimation, these are not houses for poor people. These are houses for low-income people. Let's take, for example, a traffic warden and her boyfriend, both of them earning and decide to live together, and both of them grossing about $2,000 or so. I think it is very easy for them to pay $300 for what they would eventually own. And in closing, I'd always say these low-income people are already paying $400, $500, and maybe up to $600 for rent. I think it's a great deal for the people. But like everybody talking, even me, and everybody saying what it is and what it's not. But I think they should really listen to what's coming from the Housing Authority. And the Housing Authority, they're making a good effort to disseminate information. Thank you very much for your patience.
And one of the challenges you have is when government comes up with a view that information is a need to know as a policy. Rumors and speculation would run wild.
Yes,
I
agree with that.
When they have to make something public, then they have to do all in the power to make it clear. And people must understand there were people who already had keys for these houses. You take the keys from them and then you change the rules of the game. Now, if it is no longer rent to own. You see, at one stage it was rent to own. The people, the money they were paying monthly was considered as a rent, but eventually they will own the house.
Yeah.
Now it seems the government shift to say go to the financial institution and take a loan. That must drive panic into the supermarket worker who
but
works.
it's not just for what the chairman said this morning. For example, he gave the example of Carriacou. He said prior to the elections, 92% in Carriacou were given keys for, they were given units, 92. And he said when they revise when they look at the situation, as you call it, like I say, the goalpost shift, they realize out of the 92 people that was given, let's call it a letter of comfort that they could get the units. When they look back at it, they ended up with 52 out of the 92. And the balance, when they really went and they checked them, the information was not proper and they were not able to quote-unquote qualify to get the units. He claimed that the people they would call in, they would talk to them and whatnot, and they would hold their hands and see that it's possible, as far as possible, that they get the units once they qualify. As a matter of fact, he went on to say that there was the assessing of the people, and I'm trying to quote him here, the people they assessed to get the house prior to the election, a committee was supposed to assess them. And up to now, they cannot find out who were or who are the members of that committee who made the decision to give this 92 people access, or who made the decision to give them the units. Now, the Housing Authority, I've heard 3 press conferences from the Housing Authority. I've heard a program on a radio station in Carriacou, and I heard a program this morning on a radio station in Grenada. And also, they would be going up to Carriacou. I think they said they changed the date. And then they would be having a meeting also at the Trade Center. And they're asking people, come and hear what's going on, and let's see, how best we can work with you, or at least you get the information. Because Mr. Pierre, like I say, maybe in the absence of being not being too forthcoming or not being too widespread with information, a lot of rumors abound. And I agree with that.
And you understand how the political suspicion is going to gallop.
Yeah, but Mr. Pierre, Nikita Khrushchev said, a politician will build a bridge even though there is no river.
I agree.
For a person like me, I don't really take on the political talk and the grandstanding.
Well, I think
I like to listen and I like to make my thing. Even sometimes I listen to you and I say, but that my friend getting on so. But I understand.
You see, I take the strongest objection. I take the strongest objection when we want to part away with the word poor and wretched and vulnerable.
Yeah,
because in our society, we have poor people. We have the wretched at heart.
Mr. Pierre, I'm not saying to get away with it, But I am saying in the context of the, yes, we are poor people. Sometimes I consider myself.
You see, I know where I come out, you know.
Yeah, but well, that is it. I don't. I'm out in Victoria.
Yeah, but I'm telling you.
I used to joke.
Well, it's
that
better
I
to
before I
say,
go to school.
it's
But
better
what
to
I'm
say,
saying-
we know where we come out.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Mr. Pierre, saying that the program is for poor people, and poor people will be disenfranchised when the official thing of the program is for low-income people. And I keep asking the question, what is the threshold of a low-income earner?
I put $3,000. You're not paying government tax. You're not paying personal income tax.
Right.
I put you at $3,000.
Right, that's
but the
real-
government statistic division,
honors.
but the
Good point.
government statistic division, I believe, say if you own in under $1,000, they consider you to be very vulnerable.
Right.
Some
but
words to this effect.
Right, I'm glad you said that. So that means the program is for people earning at least $3,000.
Under, yeah, 3,000 under.
Yeah, because it's low income. And so it's not for people earning under 1,000, like you say.
Of
who are
course.
considered
Well, if you're
poor.
owning under 3,000, the people owning under 1,000 should be given priority. You have
Mr.
you have a lot of
Remember-
people in this category, you know. You
Yeah,
have
but
caregivers.
Yeah, but Mr. Pierre, remember, there are, according to the chairman, there are facilities in the housing authority to deal with these people.
Well, we don't know of that.
Because I only said so this morning.
What facilities that people who work in the supermarket, the gas station, caregivers who make $600 and $700,
Yeah, but Mr.
and perhaps
Pierre,
who
Mr.
likely to
Pierre.
have more children.
Right, but you don't know what the facilities are, right? I'm not too sure on what it is. He made mention this one of $4 million that was given to the housing authority by the previous administration every year, and it should be a revolving fund. And it suffered the fate of people not paying. He said there is even a facility to deal with people. If you have a piece of land, there is a facility to deal with that. They could come and they could build a house for you, and you have to pay very little. Now, my problem with that, Mr. Pierre, is, and it's a problem we have in Grenada, the dissemination, and I mentioned before, this dissemination of information, and especially at the government level. Mr. Pierre, you know how much scholarships that sit down in the Ministry of Education and people don't know about it? That's a problem we have.
Yeah.
We don't disseminate the information properly to people.
I don't believe they want people to know too.
Well, that's your opinion.
Yeah, I'm very strong on that. I don't believe they want people to know at all.
So are you telling me that government don't want people to know what's going on? Because I didn't hear that information in the last 5 or so years.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that. I don't believe, because I know for a fact there was in the previous administration of the NDC, there was a scholarship desk, and my cousin Alexander was, I think, the chairman of it. But you are somebody dealing with that scholarship desk where they vet people and they get information out and what. That was when Franca Bernardine was there. And then after the NDC lost the election, after there was warmly thrown 15 love, I didn't hear about that again. No, I'm saying that they got rid of it, but just telling I didn't hear about it again.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, caller. It's good to hear your voice, man.
Yeah, man, but
I must see it more regular.
Bring the thing for me.
Well, if you call him more regular, I'll go remember more regular.
Yeah, well, I want to. But maybe you should call the housing authority and let them come and talk to the people.
Yeah.
Information is the people's information, not theirs.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. You have a caller on the line? You have a caller? Yes, sometimes yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
I want to ask one question. Who did the Chinese government give housing units? The government of Grenada to distribute to vulnerable people or the housing authority?
Well, I think they give the government for the people of Grenada. The housing authority is just the body that is being used to manage, supervise all these things. And in addition to that, I don't agree that yes, caller? I don't agree that the housing authority, is acting as an agent for the financial institution. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller.
I want to support that last thing you just said. To me, to me, the housing authority is acting as an agent.
As an agent for the financial institution.
Yes, to me, because they say they spoke to them already and all is well with them.
Yeah. And you see, Color, these things have to be taken into consideration when the government introduce restorative justice, when the government people are calling to fire people who are not of same political inkling, when the government remove the keys from people who have already given the house. There is no perfect system.
Mr. Pierre, I am disappointed with a lot of decisions that the present administration is making, because to me they're trying to undo what was done in a different way. For instance, Miss Thomas should be the first to come out on the air and clear the air of this thing, because Miss Thomas was the minister, and she actually, when she went over to the NDC, she said, "Don't worry." She told a reporter, "Don't worry, the people is going to get, all the people that apply, is going, she believe things going to work, what they're going to get." Now we're hearing 90% was given thing, and 40 something or 50 something percent was. I mean, come on, something.
Maybe the 40% is the LNP they throw.
So you see, something is wrong. So she being she's still the people's representative. She may not be a NMP supporter again. She's a Mr. Deacon supporter. But when you look at it, you are representing the people, and you gave the people that assurance as minister. So it's your duty now to make sure that you clear the air. Why is it that we're not hearing from Ms. Thomas, who gave that assurance to a reporter, and why did we not hear from the reporter that interview?
All of them is the same cocky pants. The information is based upon
there's a lot of hypocrisy going on.
Not hypocrisy, is the NDC have a policy that a lot of people don't understand. NDC policy. And NDC sat down and planned lies to deceive individuals that wizards say shouldn't even be in NDC. So some people are deceived. If the NDC promised to build 500 houses per parish, per annum, well, what right you have to go and fight and take back keys?
Well,
from
they made so much twist with that already. Because they said they're willing to build houses for people who have their own lands and whatnot.
And Grenadians style houses?
So the thing is, they don't have a fixed policy. For that matter, they even talk about putting on a model farm in the St. John, and the lands for where they want to put on the model farm was secured by the past government. So, too much distorted information going about.
Yeah. Right?
And the person's concern, the real person's concern, seems to be hiding behind so much hypocritical behavior. We shouldn't have to go. What I feel is this present administration have the right to change if they want. But seeing that things was worked out already with other persons, where the minister admitted that everything will be all right. Why couldn't you, when you have a next set of houses, you come up with a new policy? Why change the policy and the people?
You know, I asked a question. NDC ever build house in Grenada?
Not as far as I know.
Right, so...
they're responsible for starting the houses in Simon, in Subies, but they did not come to them.
The house in Simon? That's the Chinese house?
Yes.
NDC never built no house in there?
No, what I'm saying is that the NDC was responsible for starting the jobs there.
The Chinese house that the government negotiated, that they promised to go back and give back 1,000 to get money?
Yes.
Oh, they could start it.
Yeah. Right, but they did not complete them. If you remember, when the houses was finished, are said to be finished, there was over $3,000 had to spend still on these houses. And the same Miss Thomas was the minister at that time.
Okay.
$3,000 was supposed to spend on the houses because it was not completed when the NDC left office. Right.
You see, yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes, my brother.
Mr. Pierre, how if you was out of government. Okay? We have to follow the history. You were out of government. In the first place, we have a new alliance. We don't have an NDC government. We have an alliance. You understand? Grenadians failed to recognize that. Okay? Mr. Pierre, you have 92 people been given a key for their houses. And you coming as a new administration. You have no right to go back and take the key from these people. In the campaign, Mr. Pierre, this administration say they're going to build 500 Grenadian-style houses.
Not per
They could call it
parish.
condo,
Not per parish.
whatever they could call it. You understand? 500 per year.
Per
People
parish.
whatever they want to do. Okay, no problem with that. You leave the keys with the people. This is the Chinese who donate that to the government and people of Grenada, Karakou and Pitimatnik. You have no right to go back and take the keys and telling me now, oh, 50-something, you know what I mean, was okay, but 40-something was not okay. Who gave you the rights to do that?
But
You was not in government at the time. So leave the people alone. You know? Don't go back and take things from the people. You understand? And tell them they have to qualify. They already qualified by the last government. So this is wrong. And two wrong cannot make a right. And we have to get that in we head. And Mr. Pierre, go further. During the revolution, the bishop administration built houses down in Granans and elsewhere. A lot of soldiers get houses. We had no problem with that. Before that, Gary built houses in River Road, in Granans and elsewhere. We have no problem with that. You understand? Because as you know, right? We have ministers who grew up in the housing scheme. And for now, for we to come now and telling the people that the last government give the keys to the people in Karakou and Pitimatnik and telling them, you know what I mean? We have to go back and check it. You know, like, you know, you have to travel. So we go back and take your passport and check out if it's a good passport you have, either scheme passport or whatever it is. You can't do that. And that is where the government is wrong.
that is the restorative.
If you're going to come up with a new system, you build your houses and come up with your new system. You're calling them condos? You build your condos. Right now, we don't have no condos in Grenada. You could go back and get law from 1978 or whatever you want to do. But don't tell the people it's condos. It's low-cost housing. Anybody making from $1 to $3,000 a month, they're entitled to get one of those units. So don't move the goalposts. Please,
Yes,
Mr.
caller.
Prime Minister, do not move the goalposts.
Yes, caller, you move it already.
And
The
I don't
NDC,
understand what you're doing.
the NDC move it already.
Okay, Mr. Pierre.
Yes. you
All right,
see-
Mr. Pierre. Have a good
Yeah,
one.
thank you. I constantly speak about the history of NDC. You remember the take back policy? Yes, caller. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, caller.
I listen everyone talking, and if you check it out, Mr. Pierre, it's like one like they send him to give the message, but you don't give the message that is good. They send him. Because Mr. Pierre,
Why don't you believe? Why, caller? Why don't you believe he come himself? There are a lot of people that call on the radio station and they come because nobody send them.
everybody has a different opinion. I
Yeah.
listen.
All right. Okay.
Hey, everybody has a different
Okay. Go ahead.
opinion. Listen, the new chairman. When is the first new chairman. That's what we have to ask. The second one that come, as he come in and lie just how the Prime Minister lied. Why we have to sit in and thinking that kind of negative thinking? They could go in the unit, in the institution, and borrow and buy. You in the calling program last week, you didn't listen a man call and say a partner is buy 3 houses out in America and he rent one and he sell and he have 2 there and the houses. I know when my brother dead in the house in Mongay, when I promised I said I would have given my sister, you know what I said? My sister have another option. Why is I want to give? And that's how it is. So they're not supposed to sell in the house outside when the house is inside here. The people inside here need it. Listen, you hear all this person that have that key? Listen, he opening out the secret boxing one by one. You hear how much people would get out in Carriacou, Mr. Pierre? And they take away and say, if you could make it, Mr. Pierre, after all, Mr. Pierre, we have to creep, you know. That and them making us creep. We tell ourselves we go survive and that thing and that.
Yes, because
how they taking out the place. Christmas coming, everybody looking for the little house. Because we have a lot of people in the money looking for the houses, Mr. Pierre. You don't find that is advantage. How you watching that? You don't find that is advantage. That messenger don't come with the message good. You have to go back and come again. That messenger nowhere coming with that. And none of them, not the board, not whosoever, not the management, none of them cannot come with that. When the Chinese was here, you know what the first NDC said the chest in that? And now they come, look at what they do it for we Grenadians. And when they finish, look at what they could come in and doing with things. Budget come in. They want money to read budget. They don't want money to plan the budget. They come in with the houses now to read the budget. Mr. Pierre, that is advantage. And
yes,
that. Have
yes,
a blessed day.
You see, I know a lot of people are upset and angry, but I constantly tell people, the NDC policy have always been not sensitive to the people in the lower income group. The NDC always have a take back policy. They take back land from people in Carriacou. They take back land from people in Grenada and give to the supporters. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, caller.
I'm finding Mr. Pillow about too big for that stupidity saying.
Caller. I got a lot of information.
They come in and listen on the radio and things and lie for people and they come in and believe this kind of stupidity.
Caller, did you listen to the program this morning?
No, I did not listen.
But that's the same thing. He was saying what he heard. I didn't listen to the program, but I listened to the information he have. I'm going to go back and find out. So the best thing for us to do is to listen program. So when we take on people, we're taking them from a point of correctness, from strength, because we have information. Yes, thank you, Carl. Yeah. The NDC always have a take-back policy. And who they take back things from? The people in the lower income group. They took back land from people in Carriacou. They took back land from people in Grenada. They took back $10 from the road workers. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes.
Mr. Pierre, I just cannot understand that when a government made a decision, why other governments have to come in and take it away.
That is a government that believes in restorative justice, yes, political vengeance.
You're dealing with the Grenadian people. When the Grenadian people was in trouble, when the Hurricane Ivan destroyed them, the Chinese government come in and give them that houses, build these houses for these people to help them, to elevate themselves. Why the previous government did not charge them money? It didn't take anything to benefit themselves. Why is it this government coming now? And
because they are a low-income group. And the NDC always hostile towards this group.
But Mr. Pierre, I have people up here. I take me 2 eyes and I see number 10, Delma Thomas. She was here at the opening and the ceremony when they were giving the letters to the people, young people. As I said, they was working for less than $700 for the month. And that was keeping the people. And they gave them the letters for them to better themselves. And now this government come and investigating it because they want to turn things around for themselves. We have the poor with us all the time. If this government or any government come in this country cannot look after the poor people, what's the point of we being there? What's the point of they being there? They should just move themselves. Think about the poor people. Those people have the children. At one time they say Grenadian is underpopulated. Our country is underpopulated, right? They must have more children. So when the people producing children, give them the property. They gave it to them. They do the same thing in 2008. And now they come back and do the same thing. Everybody wants to better themselves. This man talking long.
Every time the NDC come in power, the NDC does the same thing.
Right? But it
is
is
a
not
policy that is bad.
Because the same people, they look at Grenadian people as if Grenadian people are stupid people, so we could fool them. They cropping up the lies, they building up the lies, and they telling lies to the people. And when they tell lies to the people now, and then they fooling us, and some of the young people follow them, and look what's happening to them today.
They say election of consequences.
They cannot move up. They cannot move on. They cannot better their life and their children's life because they got no way. This is not time where children staying with their parents and having children in their parents' house. The government of the day want to give them a better life. And whenever NMP doing something, they always develop little job for them to do, right? So they could pay the way, right? But this government come now and say, no, you're staying down and you're going down. And they're going to keep us down until they suffer and they're begging for mercy. But now it's not time to beg. The time will come when they will beg and we know what to do. Have a nice day, Mr.
Yes, scholar. And that's one of the challenges we have. I always say to people, you have 2 main political parties in Grenada and their policies are slightly different. This NDC group is the worst NDC group that's been there. And yes, scholar, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre.
Yes.
The lady that said Mr. Dabolai is not true because I heard it.
It's just
right. I heard it too.
Yeah.
But the fact remains, our politicians and leaders, our persons that are in charge of things, seem to be not speaking truth to us. The chairman today that spoke this morning, to me, was not fluent. He wasn't speaking with confidence of what he's saying. But you cannot say lie because according to what he says, we don't know where his facts coming from. But so it's not easy to say he lie. But as I said before, the minister have a right to come and clear the air because she gave the assurance, she gave guaranteed assurance to people.
Yes, scholar, we're running on the end.
And
yes.
It's totally unfair to take back houses or take back keys from 92%.
Yes,
that's total. That's fair.
Yeah. I'm not surprised at the National Democratic Congress. And a lot of time in my exchanges, I don't speak about the mistakes the NDC make in terms of the corrupted mistakes. I've seen a lot of things the NDC do, and I could call it corruption. But I don't bother with it. Because Grenadians selected a new group of political individuals with a lawyer that I asked who sent him. I don't believe he's genuine, and I don't believe he come to seek the country's interests. However, we selected the government, and we have to stand the consequences. 2 members, the Prime Minister and another member, parliamentarian, say election have consequences. The people got the keys for the house. Under government, the NDC took back, rescinded the letters that they got. And that was for political mischief. Nothing else but political mischief. The restorative justice policy. The call that they're going around like a sifter to fire NNP. You are not hearing about what they're doing to the caregivers. That's a group on the ground. They themselves have to be quiet as lamb. You are not hearing about the threatening them and what they're doing to the caregivers. You're not hearing about the money they take back from some Imanis already. This government have a history, the NDC have a history of taking back money. They take back lands from people in Carriacou, and they took back lands from people in Grenada. They took back $10 from road workers. The government, every time this government come in power, every time they go after people in the lower income group. They do everything to drive these people to anger. As if they don't understand. That is why some revolutions start. That is why you had an Eric Gary. And Eric Gary stood up against the British, sent down 2 battleships in Grenada. And Eric Gary, who never went to a secondary school, was able to stand up and represent the people of the lower income group. Not Mary Shaw that do it. Eric Matthew Gary. Mary Shaw must have seeked the interests of the intelligentsia, the business sector at that time. But Eric Gary fought for the people who couldn't fight for themselves. The people who didn't have a mouth. They didn't have a loud voice. Very many of them couldn't read and write. They had to practice to make the X, because he said to them, the X have power. So when they call them stinking gay, right, and they bend their head, their friends tell them, go and learn to make the X. Go and learn to make the X. I heard that 1,000 times from my people. Go and show the man how to make the X. Some of the most beautiful X I've seen, very unique, was in that period of time. We have a caller on the line? Caller, you got to punch. You end the game.
Yes, Mr. Pierre.
Punch.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, I wish you can spend a little time tomorrow.
Yes, call me early tomorrow.
On the CCU.
Caller, call me early tomorrow.
Yeah, the
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Call me early tomorrow. Yes.
Right.
Yes, I always encourage people to start the day. And I welcome the caller this morning that start the day. Start the day. And we have to go back to the NDC policy. That is the NDC. Look at the language they use to describe people, greedy and needy, nasty people, classless. Every despicable, derogative term. And it's endorsed by the NDC hierarchy. That is why I call them vultures. Vultures of the worst kind. And they strengthen my position that I don't care about reparation, because black people sold us into slavery. Not the white man that sell us. The black man sold us. The white man buy. Our own people that is taking these action to disadvantage the already disadvantaged. And I take objection to that. And that's why I spend so much time on the NDC policy. They are doing a lot of corrupted things, but I'm not bothering about that, because I didn't expect them to do better. It's a greedy group of individuals that pay attention to themselves every time they come in power. And people in the higher echelons of society wouldn't mind the NDC, because if we get a nice tax break, if you pay penalties and interest and tax, thousands of dollars, you get a relief from that. If you're closely associated with NDC, you're very much likely to be flying all over the world. The minister from America, he gone to South Korea. Every creek and corner in the world, they're on the plane. A significant number of the top NDC individuals, they turn air hostess. They flying from every creek and corner. And that is an opportunity for them to amass money. They could easily go to the GDB and borrow millions of dollars. They can't face no commercial bank. But they could go to GD. They could go to the GDB. And some individuals say that is nothing. The same individuals who are walking around looking for corruption, talking about accountability and transparency, as if it was a gala around the neck. No, they're silent. They're silent. So what we're doing, we're setting a strange precedent that in the future, some of the things we have achieved, the standards we have reached, the frugal living that our politicians do, we will be undermining it. And we will have greedy politicians who fighting to fill their own coffers. You hear politicians say this, me and me family now. All the time they're crying for the constituency. Now the tears dry up. And it's for them and the family. That is what we did with our vote. We choose a group of vultures. And vultures is attractive, you know? And it could spread like wildfire in the country if you're not careful. And we're back with you again tomorrow between 12 and 1 for another opportunity to express yourself and to punch. Thank you very much.